Ladies and gentlemen, the Alabama Senate will now come to order. Our prayer today will be delivered by Dr. Derek Allen, pastor of First Baptist Tillman's Corner in Mobile. Dr. Allen's a guest of ALCAP.
I'd like to say it's an honor to pray for you. I'd like to thank you for your service to our state. I know it can often be a thankless job, and so I want to bring greetings from the members of First Baptist Tillman's Corner, and on their behalf, I'd like to say thank you. As we pray, I'd like to use the words of Psalm chapter 20 to inform our prayer. Would you pray with me? May the Lord answer you in the day of trouble. May the name of the God of Jacob protect you. May he send you help from the sanctuary and give you support from Zion. May he remember all your offerings and regard with favor your burnt sacrifices. May he grant you your heart's desire and fulfill all your plans. May we shout for joy over your salvation, and in the name of the Lord our God set up our banners. May the Lord fulfill all your petitions. Now I know that the Lord saves his anointed. He will answer him from his holy heaven with the saving might of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. They collapse and fall, but we rise and stand upright. O Lord, save us. May he answer us when we call. Lord, we hear these words. We make them our prayer today. Lord, we ask for wisdom. We ask for your hand to guide the discussions, the votes, Lord, everything that's done in this place. Lord, protect our hearts. And we thank you, Lord, for this great word from Psalm 20. And we thank you, Lord, for your anointed one, Jesus, who came to die in our place for our sins, that we could be set free and we could live eternally with you. Lord, may you bless the work of the hands of these men and women today as they gather. And we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Today the pledge will be led by Jason Keeley. Jason is a homeschooled student from Montgomery and is a guest of Senator Barfoot.
Attention, salute, the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Secretary, call the roll.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Allen, Mr. Barfoot, Mr. Beasley, Mr. Bell, Mr. Butler, Mr. Carnley, Mr. Chambliss, Mr. Chasteen, Ms. Coleman, Ms. Coleman-Madison, Mr. Elliott, Ms. Figures, Mr. Gavan, Mr. Gudger, Mr. Hatcher, Mr. Hovey, Mr. Jones, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Kitchens, Mr. Livingston, Mr. Melson, Mr. Orr, Mr. Price, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Sessions, Mr. Shelnut, Mr. Singleton, Mr. Smitherman, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Stutz, Mr. Wagner, Ms. Weaver, Mr. Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 26 senators present, which is a quorum. The Senate is ready to transact business.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move that we excuse absent senators.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move that we dispense with the reading of the journal from the previous legislative day and that we adopt said journal.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. Now move on to introduction of bills. Senator Kitchens.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we introduce bills throughout the day.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. Thank you. All right, now move on to House messages. Secretary, call the first House message.
Message from the House, Mr. President. The House of Representatives has originated and passed the following House bill and ordered same sent forthwith to the Senate without engrossment. House Bill number 25 by Representative Oliver regarding emergency telephone services is referred to the Committee on County and Municipal Government. Signed, John Treadwell, Clerk.
All right, now move on to committee reports. Secretary, call the first committee.
Read differently. Got re-referred. From the Committee on Finance and Taxation General Fund, Senate Bill number 163 receives a favorable report with one amendment by a vote of 13 ayes and 1 nay. From the Committee on Finance, Taxation, General Fund, Senate Bill number 173 receives a favorable report by a vote of 8 ayes and 6 nays. From Finance and Taxation, General Fund, Senate Bill number 155 receives a favorable report by a vote of 8 ayes, 2 nays, and 2 abstentions. From the Committee on Finance, Taxation, General Fund, House Bill number 93 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second read to be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
Confirmations. I don't see her in here. What confirmations?
All right, Senator Weaver.
From the Committee on Confirmations, Senate Confirmation number 108, appointing Mila E. Calhoun to the University of Alabama Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 12 ayes and 0 nays.
Madam President, Mr. President,
Yeah.
would you yield for me to make that motion?
Sure.
Okay. May I be recognized?
Yeah, point of personal privilege.
Yes, sir.
You're
I
recognized.
actually want to make a motion. I'm asking her to yield that I can move for
Okay, sure.
confirmation.
Okay, yeah.
If it's proper at this time, I'd like to move for confirmation of Ms. Mila Calhoun to be on the Board of Trustees at the University of Alabama.
All right, using long roll.
No, you can use short roll, long roll.
We don't have
yeah.
one.
All right,
roll.
Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Carnley. Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chastain. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kitchens. Mr. Livingston. Mr. Melson. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shellnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smithman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Ms. Weaver.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
$28 ayes, 0 nays. Mila Calhoun's confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation number 107, appointing Barbara Humphrey to the University of Alabama Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 12 ayes and 0 nays.
Mr. President,
Senator.
if Madam Chair would yield, I'd like to be recognized.
You got it.
I'd like to move for confirmation for Mrs. Humphrey to the Alabama Board of Trustees. Can we use previous role now?
Yeah, we got a good roll now.
Yes, sir. And if no objection, we could use previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
$29 ayes, 0 nays. Barbara Humphrey's confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation.
Thank you.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation number 106, appointing O.B. Grayson Hall, Jr. to the University of Alabama Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 12 ayes and 0 nays.
All right, before we do that, let me recognize some special guests in the gallery. When I call your name, if you could please stand. The Southwest Mobile County Tall students and sponsor Tina Peru, the guest of Senator Sessions. If y'all could please stand. Welcome to the Alabama Senate. Senator Weaver.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate confirm Grayson Hall to the University of Alabama Board of Trustees using previous role with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Grayson Hall is confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation number 105, appointing Angus R. Cooper III to the University of Alabama Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 12 ayes and 0 nays.
Senator Weaver.
I move that the Senate confirm Angus Cooper to the University of Alabama Board of Trustees using previous role with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Angus Cooper's confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation.
About 4 or 5 more. From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation number 115, appointing Brad Fuller to the Agriculture Exhibition Center Corporation Board of Directors, receives a favorable report by a vote of 11 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention.
I move that the Senate confirm Brad Fuller to the Agriculture Exhibition Center Corporation Board of Directors using previous role with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Brad Fuller's confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation number 109, appointing Joe Lambrecht to the Agriculture Exhibition Center Corporation Board of Trustees, receives a favorable report by a vote of 11 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention.
I move that the Senate confirm Joe Lambrecht to the Agriculture Exhibition Center Board of Directors using previous role with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Joe Lambert's confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation number 23, appointing Thomas Ellis to the Agriculture Exhibition Center Corporation Board of Directors, receives a favorable report by a vote of 11 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention.
I move that the Senate confirm Thomas Ellis to the Agriculture Exhibition Center Board of Trustees using previous role with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Thomas Ellis confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation Number 19, appointing Barrett Vaughn to the Agricultural Exhibition Center Corporation Board of Directors. Receives a favorable report by a vote of 11 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate confirm Dr. Barrett Vaughn to the Agriculture Exhibition Center Board of Directors using previous role with no objection. And he is in the gallery today, if you would recognize him.
All right, yeah, if you could please stand. Welcome to the Alabama Senate. All right, now it's time to confirm you. So, any objection to using previous role? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Barrett Vaughn is confirmed. Congratulations. All right, Secretary, call next confirmation.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation Number 20, appointing John Starnes to the Alabama Exhibition Center Corporation Board of Directors. Receives a favorable report by a vote of 11 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention.
Senator Weaver.
Move that the Senate confirm John Starnes to the Agriculture Exhibition Center Board of Directors using previous role with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. John Starnes to confirm. Secretary, call next confirmation.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation Number 93, appointing Jimmy Parnell to the Alabama Agricultural Exhibition Center Corporation Board of Directors. Receives a favorable report by a vote of 11 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention.
Move that the Senate confirm Jimmy Parnell to the Agriculture Exhibition Center Corporation using previous role with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Jimmy Parnell is confirmed. Secretary, call next confirmation.
From the Committee on Confirmation, Senate Confirmation Number 92, appointing Ralph Williams to the Alabama Agricultural Exhibition Center Corporation Board of Directors. Receives a favorable report by a vote of 11 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention.
Move that the Senate confirm Ralph Williams to the Agriculture Exhibition Center Corporation using previous role with no objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Ralph Williams confirmed. Before we move on to the next confirmation, I want to recognize some special guests in the gallery. When I call your name, if you could please stand. The guest of Senator Stewart and Senator Singleton, the Black Belt School Superintendents. If y'all could please stand. Welcome to the Alabama Senate. That concludes the committee.
From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill Number 156 receives a favorable report by a vote of 9 ayes and 3 nays. Yes. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill Number 134 receives a favorable report with 1 amendment by a vote of 12 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill Number 108 receives a favorable report by a vote of 12 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill Number 47 receives a favorable report by a vote of 12 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill Number 88 receives a favorable report with 1 amendment by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill Number 106 receives a favorable report by a vote of 12 ayes and 0 nays. From the Judiciary Committee, Senate Bill number 18 receives a favorable report by a vote of 12 ayes and 0 nays. From Fiscal Responsibility and Economic Development, Senate Bill number 177 receives a favorable report by a vote of 13 ayes and 0 nays.
These bills received a second read to be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call the next committee.
From the Healthcare Committee, Senate Bill number 10 receives a favorable report by a vote of 10 ayes and 0 nays.
This bill has received a second reading to be placed on the calendar for next legislative day. Secretary, call next committee.
From the Committee on Local Legislation, Mobile County, Senate Bill number
Committee reports. Before we get going, I'd like to recognize some special guests in the gallery. The guest of Senator Elliott, Senator Williams, Senator Figures, and Senator Sessions. We have President Joe Bonner from South Alabama. If you could please stand. We have the CEO. Two other guests. We have the CEO of USA Health, Owen Bailey, and also Executive VP, Dr. Kent. If y'all could please stand. Also understand, Dr. Kent, it is your birthday, so happy birthday. Welcome to Alabama Senate. Great to have y'all. Thank y'all for everything you do for our state. All right, now move on to motions and resolutions. Senator Carnley, see you have your Coach Oates outfit on today. So,
thank you for the acknowledgement of that, Lieutenant Governor. Calling me out.
Hey. All right, you have a resolution?
You need that? I do, yes, sir.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the resolution.
Senate Joint Resolution number 26 by Senator Carnley and others commending legendary Troy University football coach Larry Blakeney for being enshrined into the College Football Hall of Fame class of 2025.
Mr. President, request unanimous consent to add all members to the resolution.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. President, request unanimous consent for immediate consideration.
All right, any objection? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution is adopted.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, I have a resolution from Rules.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the resolution from Rules.
From the Committee on Rules, House Joint Resolution number 15 by Representative Faulkner commending Mountain Brook Chief of Police James A. Loggins for professional achievements on the occasion of his retirement receives a favorable report.
Mr. President.
Senator Wagner.
Move adoption of the resolution.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution is adopted. All right, Senator Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have a resolution.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the resolution, please.
Senate Joint Resolution number 27 by Senator Elliott honoring the life and legacy of Lieutenant Colonel George A. Garzon.
Mr. President, we just send that to Rules.
All right, Secretary, send to Rules.
Thank you.
Senate Joint Resolution number 27 is referred to the Rules Committee.
Senator Stewart.
Mr. President, I have a resolution.
All right, Secretary Reed, receive the resolution.
Senate Joint Resolution number 28 by Senator Stewart commending Lanny's Barbecue Spot on being named one of the USA Today's 2025 Restaurants of the Year.
Mr. President, I move that all senators are added as co-sponsors.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
I also move that we send to the House without further consideration.
All right, we need to adopt it.
Oh, adopt, my apologies.
All right, any objection? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, resolution's adopted. When are we going to eat some of this barbecue?
I'll bring you some.
Hey,
All right.
I was asking.
I mean, if we're going to adopt a resolution, we need to make sure this food's the best, right? Yeah.
It
All right.
is.
Thank you, Senator Stewart.
Thank you.
All right, Senator Smitherman.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I be recognized a moment of personal privilege for a moment of Black history?
All right, I thought you were going to recognize how there was people saying you did a better job than me the other day, so I got to be careful getting you up here.
No.
Okay.
I can't match you. You know, not at all. But I tell you what the fun part was about it, though. At the very end, where I could just hit that wood. Pow.
Hit it hard. Time to go home.
It was.
All right, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. Let me get everybody's attention to today, our moment in Black history. Since we are talking about landings, and that's in Selma, we're gonna pick up our moments in Black history and keep riding in Selma. To our person today, excuse me, Mr. President, can I just say something? Hey, the two senators from Selma, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm talking about Selma. All right. Our person today is Joanne Bland from Selma. She was born on July the 29th, 1953 in Selma, Alabama. Is recognized as one of our greatest human rights activists and was one of the youngest persons jailed during the 1960 Civil Rights Movement. By this time, she was 11 years old. Bland had been arrested at least 13 times, once for 8 days serving time on a prison farm. As an educator, historian, and civil rights activist, she continued to travel the world sharing her extraordinary experiences. Bland is co-founder and director of the National Voting Rights Museum and Institute in Selma, Alabama, where she worked to promote civil and human rights and increase voter awareness. During her lifetime, she has witnessed and participated in some of our nation's most consequential civil rights battles. She began her civil rights activism in early 1960. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee activists arranged for Bland and other area children and teenagers to participate in the civil rights movement. In the front line of the struggle, the young Bland marched on Bloody Sunday, witnesses brutal beatings of fellow marchers by police. It's the screams I remember the most. People just screaming and screaming and screaming. The last thing I remember seeing on the bridge that day is this lady and this horse. I don't know if the horse ran over her or if the officer on the horse hit her with the billy club. But I remember the sound of her head hitting that pavement. I'll never forget it. It was too much for me. I fainted. She later marched on Turnaround Tuesday and the first leg of the successful march from Selma to Montgomery. Her early involvement in the struggle against Jim Crow, America's apartheid, has been the foundation for her civil and human rights work throughout her life. A much sought-after speaker with a compelling personal story of civil rights activists, Bland has presented at conferences and workshops at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C., and in 16 states throughout the country. Currently, Bland is the owner and operator of Journeys for the Soul, an agency that specializes in civil rights tours with a major focus on Selma, Alabama. Bland received her bachelor's degree from College of Staten Island and is a United States Army veteran. This is our moment of Black history, and thank you all very much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Hey, thanks, Senator Smitherman. At this time, I'd like to recognize some special guests in the gallery. When I call your name, if you could please stand. My home county of Marshall County, the leadership class, the guest of Senator Kitchens, if y'all could please stand. Welcome to the Alabama Senate. All right, any other motions or resolutions? All right, next move on to local bills. Secretary, call the first local bill.
On page 15 of the calendar, House Bill number 76 by Representative Brinyark relating to Fayette County. BR pending.
Mr. President,
Senator Chambliss.
I move the BIR using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Strawbritton. Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 15 of the calendar, House Bill number 76 by Representative Brinyark relating to Fayette County.
Senator Chambliss.
Mr. President, I move final passage using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. House Bill 76 passes. Secretary, call next local bill.
On page 16 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 139 by Senator Livingston relating to the city of Scottsboro in Jackson County. BR pending.
Senator Chambliss.
Mr. President, I move the BR using the previous roll.
All right, any objection? You object? All right. You want to be recognized? Okay.
Good morning, Senator.
Morning, sir.
We got to schedule a meeting, you and I.
I thought about that actually yesterday afternoon, and we got to sit down and talk.
In fact, I saw you yesterday. We kind of looked at each other, and you looked like you were thinking that. For real, that's why I'm saying that. I was thinking it too. I looked at you, and I said, "Dog," I said, "I got to sit down and talk to him."
We got the first couple of weeks, the flurry. We got that, so we can settle in. We can do that now. We need to do that.
That'll work. Now, the reason I wanted to speak is not about. I mean, you know, it's germane. I have to say that to the to the desk. It's germane, but it's not just about your bill, and it's not anything wrong with your bill. Let me get that out the air.
Okay.
Okay. So this is a moment. I meant to do it when we first introduced the calendar, but I was engaged with my colleagues over here about a few things we were talking. So when I look back, you were moving for the BIR, which you should.
So you were talking. So this is not the calendar.
Oh, it's
This
not
is local bill.
That's right.
So you still have your chance. So
That's right. I sure do. This the first time we've taken local bills up in a while, isn't it?
it is.
Oh, that's what threw me off.
Yeah, I'm mess with you. Trying to mess with you.
Okay, with that, Mr. President, I'm gonna yield it back to him. You know, because that's your personal stuff. I'll come back when the calendar comes up. Thank you.
I think it'll be next though, because you were right on time, just maybe a minute early.
Okay, all right.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Smithman.
All right, thank you, Mr.
All right.
President.
I think we had a motion adoption of the BIR using previous roll. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
Page 16 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 139 by Senator Livingston regarding Jackson County.
Senator Chambliss.
Mr. President, I move final passage using the previous roll.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 139 passes.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you. All right. Senator Wagner. Oh, we have one more? Senator Chambliss, one more local bill.
Mr. President.
On page 16.
Hold on.
On page 16 of the calendar, Senate Bill 162 by Senator Kitchens regarding Marshall County. BR pending.
Mr. President, I move the BIR using the previous roll.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
29 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 16 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 162 by Senator Kitchens regarding Marshall County.
Mr. President, I move final passage using the previous roll.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 162 passes.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you. I think that
Okay.
concludes
See
local
ya.
bills. Is that correct? Matt? All right. Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, have a report from the Committee on Rules.
All right. Secretary, read and receive the report from the Committee on Rules, please.
From the Committee on Rules, Senate Resolution number 29, Special Order Calendar. Be it resolved by the Senate of the Legislature of Alabama that immediately upon the adoption of this resolution, the following business in the order set forth below shall be a special paramount order of business for the 8th legislative day, taking precedence over the regular order of business or any pending or unfinished business. On page 11, Senate Bill number 25 by Senator Gudger regarding community development districts. On page 16, Senate Bill number 65 by Senator Livingston regarding paint rock in Jackson County. On page 10, Senate Bill 54 by Senator Roberts and others regarding crimes and offenses. On page 8, Senate Bill number 80 by Senator Butler regarding the Alabama Local Government Training Institute. On page 8, Senate Bill 115 by Senator Chambliss regarding crimes and offenses. On page 9, Senate Bill 102 by Senators Coleman, Madison, and others regarding Medicaid. On page 14, Senate Bill 5 by Senator Elliott regarding the archives. On page 2, Senate Bill number 40 by Senators Kelly and others regarding firearms.
Mr. President,
Senator Wagner.
move adoption of the report from the Committee on Rules.
All right, Senator, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I want to share something with the body. And I had a chance to look at this prior to today, and it seemed like it was a little struggle for us to get a bill on. That was last night, but thank God he does answer prayers. As I see my president up in the gallery, he can relate to what I'm saying. As I was riding back from Mobile last night from the basketball game, I had a chance to pull up my phone to look at the special order calendar, and I was a little concerned about the calendar because I didn't see any joint representation on this calendar. Now, we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bills. And the last time I did my division, now they got that new math, and I ain't down with the new math. So I go back to the old stuff, where you put the little number on this side and have the little equation and the line, then you put your stuff there, you divide it in there, and then you put your answer on top. And the last time that I did that, I found out that a third of 9 is 3. That's 1/3.
Well,
3, 6, 9.
smart. You smart. He's smart.
Now I got to tell a moment of confession. When my kids were in school, and then I served with some of y'all, we served together. You see me back there with my head bent down in the phone. Moments of confession. I was doing math tutoring with the kids at home while I'm sitting right there. I do the little tutoring on my phone and tell them, or either they'd be there and I'd be kind of talking to them. So I was pretty decent in math.
Well, you know what, Senator, Mr. President, I want to dialogue with the gentleman. I am so glad that you're good with math, because you realize it was 12:30 and you told me you was about to call me at 12:30 a.m. to talk about whether or not a bill was on the calendar. I'm so glad they got it right, because you would have just been getting a ringtone.
I had to have somebody help me keep from going to sleep on the freeway. So I was worrying folks, and I called somebody else. In fact, to show you how concerned about them, truth be told, about 11, my daughter called me. She called me, because her daughter's the one that's out, so she was calling me to keep me woke. And then after she got through, it was like a tag team. My wife called me. She had set the alarm clock. She said, so I want to make sure if he got somebody he need to talk to, he could talk to. But then, I eased them off so they could go on to sleep, so you were going to be the victim. I had it dialed and everything. I looked at it, and I said, you might ought to let him. Just thank God another person we know called me, and so they kind of brought me on in.
Thank God for that person, because I wouldn't have heard that phone.
So they kind of brought me on in, but it's a third. That's 3. Right now, thank God we do. Some sensitivity was given to the issue. I believe in giving people flowers while they living. So sensitivity by my colleagues was given to that issue without me saying anything to them, and I appreciate that. but it's only one there. Now, the reason I'm standing here is to talk about that. And after that, unless you have something to do, I'm letting the body know I'm going to step back and we're going to start this process. But I hold up in my hand
one bill on there that I hope that we don't get bogged down here all day today, because I think it's, while we try to put together these calendars supposed to be non-controversial, I see some controversy.
Oh yeah. And this is what I was gonna get at. Then I'm coming right back there. Is that as I hold up in my hand, this is as of February the 10th. So that was last week. We have exactly 30 bills that's in the system.
Okay.
I know we can get 3. I know we can get 3 out of 30. Because what is 3? What is that? 3 into 30 is what, 10%?
10 times.
10%. So 3 into 30 is 10%. Okay, so all we saying is get 3 out of 30 for the day. Out of 30. We ain't even said what 3 did we?
Nope.
We just said 3.
3.
Okay, so the flexibility still exists with the decision makers. We just want you to make sure you take this list. And if ain't nobody that has this list, I'll provide it for you. All 30 of them are on here. I know Rules got it because, they always get that information, but that doesn't mean that there's something for Rules to work with. I'm still talking to committee chairs.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they done a good job. They start putting them on there, but let's continue to put them on there so it'll be some bills in the hopper for the chair to be able to make a decision, about putting on there. Okay, I wanted to do that part.
And you're absolutely right. I think we just gotta continue to harp at it. It's still early in the session. There's a lot of legislation to be passed, or a lot of legislation to be denied.
Let me
We don't want
say
to be on
this,
the back end.
and then I'm gonna either yield to you or I'm gonna stop. Either one that needs to be done. Is that I just want to say quickly. Let's please show a level of sensitivity when we are dealing with situations like whether it be boards or those kind of things where we are dealing with composition of it. All I'm asking is one thing. Don't force your philosophy on the people in Senate District 18.
Gotcha.
If you want the philosophy in your district, get a local bill. So please don't be trying to tell me what to do with 18 unless my constituents tell me they want to do it. But you see what I'm saying now?
Gotcha.
See, I represent a very diverse district. And people in that district are very open-minded. They're very fair-minded. They don't get caught up in philosophies and forcing them on other people. And so I want to say that just remember that don't take an approach that you want to force a philosophy on a statewide situation to make all of us have to be governed by that philosophy, because everybody ain't the same. And I ain't talking about black and white, nothing like that. I'm talking about people. Everybody's not the same. So in closing, I'm gonna say this. When we run into those situations, I just ask that they open up Webster's dictionary and look at the word politics. And the meaning of that is the art of compromise. So I want to leave it there. I'll yield to you if otherwise, Senator from Dallas County and thereabouts, if you would prefer to talk, I'm going to yield this mic to you.
No, Mr. President, Senator, I really have no reason to prolong this process. We're going to get this calendar rolling. Again, there's just only one bill that I have some issues with per se on that. I may have some questions about some of the others, but that one bill, I think, we'll talk about it if they want to move forward with it. We'll just be here all day with it. Other than that, they can carry it over and we can get it solved.
Well, with that, can I move now?
We can move now.
Mr. President, I move for a vote. We can use unanimous consent. You previous vote for adoption of the special order calendar.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The special order calendar is adopted. Secretary, call the first bill.
On page 11 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 25 by Senator Gudger regarding community development districts. BR pending.
Mr. President, may I make a motion to move the BR using previous roll without objection?
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 11 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 25 by Senator Gudger regarding community development districts.
Senator Gudger.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is, ladies and gentlemen of the Alabama State Senate, this is a community development district bill. This bill is local application for Coleman County only, even though it's a state statute. What this bill does is just allows grants for in education, civic, and community and tourism activities within Coleman County. I have a colleague that might want to say something. If not, I'll make a motion to pass with final passage using previous roll without objection.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 25 passes. Thank you, Senator Gudger.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 16 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 65 by Senator Livingston regarding paint rock in Jackson County. BIR pending.
Mr. President,
Senator Livingston.
we're doing, I'd like to get the BIR if I could on this. This is an annexation by the city of Paint Rock. So if I could use the BIR using previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 16 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 65 by Senator Livingston regarding paint rock in Jackson County.
Mr. President, I have to work with one of my colleagues on a little issue, so I need to carry this bill over if I could, please.
All right.
Just carry it over, please.
Just carry it over.
Yes.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, Senate Bill 65 is carried over.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
Page 10 of the calendar. Senate Bill number 54 by Senator Roberts and others regarding crimes and offenses. BIR pending.
Mr. President, I'd like
Senator Roberts.
BIR on SB 54 without objection.
All right, any objection?
Roll.
Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton, Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 10 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 54 by Senator Roberts and others regarding crimes and offenses. Committee amendment pending.
Senator Roberts.
Mr. President, I have the committee amendment.
It's on there.
I'd like to move the committee amendment using previous roll without objection.
All right.
Could you explain the committee amendment again, please, sir?
Yes, sir. Be happy to do that. It starts on replace line 56, dealing shall not apply to any act committed by a person within the scope of his or her employment. We work with counties on this, Senator, trying to make sure that if you have someone out there working on the right-of-way in a county, that and something happens not intentionally or maliciously, then there's no problem with that situation.
And I know I signed off on this bill, and I probably signed off on it prematurely, but I do like to understand. Explain what is your critical infrastructure facilities in the state as defined in your bill. What would those facilities be? I understand we got broadband and...
What we're adding to this is broadband, and then we have another amendment that we're bringing that deals with defense contractors and then pulp and paper. There will be a second amendment that is not on the floor right now, but that's...
So tell me about pulp and paper.
You want to get to that? I will be glad
just talk to me about it.
In meeting with Manufacturer Alabama, they felt like the work that they're doing is critical to the economy of Alabama, and they felt like that it was necessary to add them to this bill for the work that they do. As you know, it's one of the second largest industries in our state.
And it want to be deemed as critical infrastructure? Now, I heard someone ask you a question about prisons and drones, and y'all said in a meeting yesterday that that wasn't a critical infrastructure. But you're gonna call cutting
Covered
some
in
trees?
another section.
You're gonna call some trees cutting critical infrastructure, and someone is gonna get a felony for doing what to a tree?
No, it's not trees, it's pulp and paper manufacturing facility.
Well, the pulp and paper manufacturer at that plant. So if what's going to happen to a person, what would they do to get a felony at that plant? That's what I'm trying to understand.
If they
I can
were-
understand us protecting the critical infrastructure of our broadband, of our electrical wires and
Right,
things
right.
of that nature. That's critical infrastructure.
That's what we dealt with on the First Amendment, and then we dealt, you want to deal with the First Amendment, then come back
I
to
understand the
second?
First Amendment.
Okay.
We're just talking through the other
Okay.
ones. That doesn't mean that we'll get to them.
Second Amendment that I will be bringing deals with defense contractor facilities, which we have in our state now, and I think you don't have any questions about that.
Defense contractor facility, not defense governmental facility, but just defense contractors facility.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, so I passed by this building over here. I don't know if they're a defense contractor or not. Are they going to let me know that they're a defense contractor with a sign or something? Let me know I'm violating? How do I know that they are a defense contractor facility? See, this bill going a little bit further than what I signed up for. It really has gone a little bit further than what I signed up for. I think we're now trying to put all these defense contractors, into this as critical infrastructure. I was just thinking infrastructure.
Yes, sir.
And I don't see this as a part of an infrastructure, this and these manufacturers as infrastructure. We might as well put every manufacturer in because they all are critical to the work of our society for gaining and the well-being of people and living, whoever earns a paycheck from them. So why are we just gonna take pulp and wood and put them in it and we don't put steel in it? Steel is just as important. People use steel now. Steel is like a hot commodity. It's almost like gold out there. How is the prices going up on it? Why aren't we putting steel in it? Some of those other critical access points. I think the bill is just going a little bit further than where I really wanted to go, where I would like to see it go.
The First Amendment deals with the broadband industry. And you're good with that.
When you talk to me, that's what we talked about.
That's what we were talking about.
That's what we were talking about. And that's why I signed up.
Yes, sir.
I sit on the Broadband Commission. I signed up for that. I didn't sign up for all this other stuff that you have agreed to these other folks after you and I talked.
Yes, sir.
Okay? See, that's why I don't prematurely like to sign on the bills. Because folk go and cut deals and they don't let you know about the deal that they cut.
Yes, sir.
And see, I'm not happy. I really can't get past this. And I need to understand that a little bit more. Because I wasn't sitting on that committee when you passed the bill to talk about what these other pieces are. I don't know, in essence, how do they become a critical infrastructure. And I need more clarity to that before I get off of this bill. Other than that, we're going to stand here and talk. Okay? Unless you want to carry it over, we can talk about it and help me understand that concept. And I know, Dan, you and I can get there.
We can.
Okay? And if that is the case, if you and I can get there, then I'm okay with it. But other than that, that's not what I really signed up for. And if we're going to do that, we might as well be inclusive of our public schools. It's critical access.
Well, how about we do this? Let's adopt the committee amendment so that's done and that does not
That
deal
one
with
right there,
defense or
I'll be
pulp
willing
and
to
paper.
adopt that one, yes.
Okay. Mr. President, I move adoption of the committee amendment using previous role without objection.
I'm fine with that one.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment's adopted. All right, Senator Roberts.
Mr. President, I'd move to carry this bill over at the call of the chair so Senator Singleton and I can put our heads together and then we'll be back.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered. Senate Bill 54 carried over. Call the chair.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr.
Secretary,
President.
call next bill.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate that.
My pleasure, sir.
Yes.
On page 8 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 80 by Senator Butler regarding the Alabama Local Government Training Institute. BR pending.
Mr. President,
Senator Butler.
Senate Bill 80 deals with naming the Local Government Training Institute for the former director, and I move adoption of the BIR, Senate Bill 80,
All right. Using previous role.
using previous role.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Strawbritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 8 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 80 by Senator Butler regarding the Local Government Training Act.
Mr. President, members of the body, we all know O.H. Buddy Sharpless, former director of the County Commission Association. The association wanted to name the Training Institute in his honor, and that's what it does. And I move third reading of the bill, reading at length be dispensed with, and unanimous consent to use previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Strawbritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 80 passes. Thanks, Senator Butler.
Thank you, Senator.
All right, Secretary, call next bill.
On page 8 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 115 by Senator Chambliss regarding crimes and offenses. BR pending.
Mr. President, I move the BIR using the previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Strawbritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 8 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 115 by Senator Chambliss regarding crimes and offenses.
Mr. President, this bill just further clarifies, we already have a law in the books that you can't impersonate a police officer. However, there's a couple of situations or several situations that we're aware of where police officers had their license revoked, but they continued to work and people continued to hire them, and this would make it clear that they couldn't do that. So if I have any questions, without any other questions, I move final passage using previous role.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 115 passes. Thanks, Senator Chambliss.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I may I have a point of personal privilege?
You're recognized.
Senators, just a little reminder, local bills are back there, and sometimes we forget to sign them, that kind of thing. Just don't forget about your local bills. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks, Senator Chambliss. All right, Secretary, call next bill.
On page 9 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 102 by Senators Coleman, Madison, and others regarding Medicaid. BIR pending.
All right, Senator, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move the BIR using previous role without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
30 ayes, no nays.
30 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. 31 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 9 of the calendar, Senate Bill 102 by Senators Coleman, Madison, and others regarding Medicaid.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer an amendment.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the amendment, please.
Amendment to Senate Bill 102 by Senator Coleman, Madison. Replace lines 28 through 29 on pages 1 through 2 with the following. Replace line 84 on page 3 with the following.
The amendment makes this a bill that is exactly the one that has already passed the House, 102-0. And so now this makes this exactly like the one in the House. This bill is the presumptive eligibility bill for Medicaid. It
Amendment's adopted.
Thank you,
Senator
Mr.
Coleman
Chair.
Madison.
Now I'd like to move for final passage as amended using previous roll.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
(31 ayes, 0 nays). Senate Bill 102 passes. Thanks, Senator
sir.
Coleman Madison. Secretary, call the next bill.
On page 14 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 5 by Senator Elliott regarding the archives. BR pending.
Senator Elliott.
Good morning, Mr. President. Thank you for the recognition. Excuse me.
You going somewhere, dude?
It's that afternoon, isn't it? It's that afternoon.
You on your way out? We'll take that letter.
See, it's good to be able to start off this way. Mr. President, during this morning's discussion on the special order calendar, I heard that I may have a little bit more work to do with my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to discuss this. What I'd like to do, if possible, though, is some of the members that I have worked with on an amendment, I'd like to go ahead and get their amendment on the bill, if that's okay, and then we will, I'm sorry. That would be my preference, and then carry the bill over, but I would like to yield to the senator from Jefferson.
All right, Senator Smitherman.
I think that it would be important to be able to at least have an opportunity to fully vet that amendment. I mean, the amendment may be causing more of the problem than the bill is. I don't know that, but I'm just saying this. I just don't think. I think it can be better served at the approach that was requested from you as to how we do it versus trying to piecemeal it standing here and then take that approach. You know, that's very, look, over the years I've been here, it's very difficult unless you sit down and analyze each aspect of it to do it on the fly. You know, because, you know, it's being a lawyer, I can just tell you that we can have a 50-page bill, and all that's got to be changed in it is one word from may to shall. Just one word in a 50-page bill, and it changes the whole bill. So that's what I meant when I say about being able to kind of sit down and just see what the impact of it is, because you remember my airplane. See, I'm not saying that you have any intention, you understand, but sometimes the consequential intentions actually does that. And so that's why, you know, you appreciate this. Hey, all of you all who are expert marksman people will appreciate the fact that I had some communications with the NRA and dealing with one of my issues. And all they wanted to do was just put one word. And it was a good word. It was good. And I agreed to it. You know, I'm just telling you that. But that was a good thing, that one word. But one word can change the whole aspect of it, you know. And so that's why I said that in that regard, since it has the statewide implication, if it was Baldwin County implication, there it is, you know, you the man. You know, but it's a state, you know, and so since it has an implication like that, I would like to make sure that that does not have an adverse effect, that incidental consequence that is not intended.
Well, Mr. President, I would simply say that I can assure you, and that the lady standing behind you with her amendment has a very simple amendment that will be very easily understood, certainly by my esteemed colleague, the constitutional lawyer, and that it will not have wide implications. It's pretty straightforward. But if you would prefer, we can discuss it separately. I would say to my colleagues and anybody that has a question about this, there is a committee substitute that I would ask, and I will be coming to you to talk about, but the committee substitute is something that has been discussed with the Archives and History Board. This has been negotiated back and forth, and I will say that I think while it is not necessarily what I wanted or what they wanted, I think we're both comfortably neutral on the bill at this point. And so I think it brings it more into consistency with other boards and commissions in the state, including some we voted on here just recently, and that there is even an added layer of protection and separation from those that we just voted on here recently. And so I would ask my colleagues you a copy of the committee sub and we can talk about it. And we'll both have to explain to the gentlelady standing behind you that we don't want to take her amendment at this time. But
Well, let me say two quick little things, if you would, on that. Number one, I think that you and I can have a better understanding of what we are trying to do with that, as you said, when we talk. And I think that understanding is a lot better than whatever archives agree or disagree with. So you're just you know this, but I'm just making a statement. My rationale and how I see it and its impact, archives can't substitute for me, my rationale. I'm just saying that to you. I take it one step further. When we are talking about issues, because sometimes people come to you and say, well, we talk to your mayor, we talk to people. That's fine, keep talking to them, because that ain't gonna substitute my representation.
Could not agree
for the
more.
150,000. See,
Could not agree more.
So in saying that's, let me sit down with you. It's the same thing with my good friend behind me. Their intent is very good, but we had a bill up here a couple of days ago, and I won't say anything else, that the intention was real good, but the implementation of the intention was not good, and it wasn't somebody intended to do that. It's just that from my perspective, I'm on this side as an attorney, and I see this side of it. Person does not see this side, and so that's the way this is. The intent may be good, but the impact of that intent may have a adverse intent on what you ultimately, maybe even the sub or whatever like that. So that's why I think that it's important that we can do that. And in fact, let me say this to you. If I don't have it, if I can get a copy of it, I will take it with me. I'll have it with me. I'll be able to do that. And even if we need to talk offline, I don't have any problem with that as well. I just want you to know that. But I've got to also, not about your bill, I'm saying this, but I know that if we try to do otherwise, when we walk out the back door, it'll be tumbleweeds and two cars out there, yours and mine. Everybody gonna be gone. So I know that. So that's why I said, let's do it that way, because unless you and I plan on just gotta stay in here technically by ourselves, that would probably be a good approach and use of our time to do that if that can be done that way.
you just make a little time for me. I'll be back.
Well, I think that you can vouch for me. I think you can vouch that I've had once or twice you've come and I've had some people in the office. And what did I tell them? What did I tell them? You heard me, and they weren't constituents. So what I tell them? They were people who were trying to do their job. But you remember what I told them? I said, in the pecking order, I said, is my constituents are number one. And what did I say? My colleagues, you, all y'all, is number two. And they 3, 4, and 5. And did I not politely tell them that you were the priority and they had to?
It was pretty polite. I like that.
That's right.
The message was received.
So I want them to know that, hey, no, I hold what we saying there a very high esteem, and you know that. I've tried to show that. So I'm going to do what I said I would do in that regard.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, that move to carry over SB 5.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Senate Bill 5 is carried over.
Thank you, Senator.
All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
Mr. President,
I'm sorry.
may I be recognized?
Sure.
My esteemed colleague and I have visited, and I'd like to bring up SB 54. Or have you already called for the bill?
Yes.
What number?
54.
54?
What's Carrie to call the chair?
Chair. It was the chair. Senate Bill 54.
All right, what's the bill number?
54, SB 54.
All right, Secretary, call up Senate Bill 54. All right, any objection to bringing up Senate Bill 54? Hearing none, so ordered. Secretary, bring up Senate Bill 50. It got carried over instead of carried over, call of the chair.
We carried over
Call of the chair.
It was, all right. Secretary, bring up Senate Bill 54.
I thought we said the chair.
It did.
Okay.
On
No
page
problem.
10 of the calendar.
It's a.
On page 10 of the calendar, Senate Bill 54 by Senator Roberts regarding crimes and offenses.
Mr. President, just to remind where we were, we got the committee bill adopted, and we have one other amendment that we would like to make. Please, sir.
All right, Secretary, read and receive the amendment.
Yes, hello.
Let me read this in. Read in the amendment.
Please read the amendment.
Amendment to Senate Bill 54 by Senator Roberts. Replace line 94 on page 4 with the following.
Senator Roberts, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. After visiting with my esteemed colleague, we're in agreement with this, and I'd like to move passage of this amendment using previous role without objection.
Okay.
Any objections? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. Senator Robert, amendment's adopted.
Mr. President, with that, I'd like to move final passage using previous role without objection.
All right, Senator Singleton.
Yes, Mr. President. I want to thank you, Senator, for working with me. I think that we came to a point to where these critical infrastructure pieces, like you said, steel and others were already in the bill in the original language. And the fact that what gave me the ability to move forward with this is that the terminology that is used in terms of knowingly, recklessly, going on someone's property and basically maliciously doing some damage to that particular project. It's not just about entering the property or someone casually going on some property. It got to be going with some malicious intent to be able to do something. And then plus those facilities have to be signed and say that they are critical facilities and with the thing keep out or whatever it is, no trespassing and letting you know what the critical infrastructure is over there. So I really appreciate you working with me on that. And those clear definitions gave me some solace to say it's okay.
That's where Let's Work.
That's where Let's Work happens at.
So appreciate that. So, Mr. President, without objection, I'd like to renew my motion to pass SB 54 with 2 amendments using previous role without objection.
Any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 54 passes. Thanks, Senator
Thank you,
Roberts.
Mr. President.
All right, Secretary, call the next bill.
Got one more?
On page 2 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 40 by Senators Kelly and others regarding firearms. BR pending.
Mr. President.
Senator Kelly.
Move adoption BIR by previous roll.
Mr. President, would you call a long roll on this one, please?
All right, Secretary, call the long roll.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Allen. Mr. Barfoot. Mr. Beasley. Mr. Bell. Mr. Butler. Mr. Carnley.
I'm the last one.
Mr. Chambliss. Mr. Chastain. Ms. Coleman. Ms. Coleman Madison. Mr. Elliott. Ms. Figures. Mr. Gavan. Mr. Gudger. Mr. Hatcher. Mr. Hovey. Mr. Jones. Mr. Kelly. Mr. Kitchens. Mr. Livingston. Mr. Melson. Mr. Orr. Mr. Price. Mr. Roberts. Mr. Sessions. Mr. Shelnut. Mr. Singleton. Mr. Smitherman. Mr. Stewart. Mr. Stutz. Mr. Wagner. Ms. Weaver. Mr. Williams. Senator Singleton.
31 ayes, 0 nays. The BR is adopted. Secretary, call the bill.
On page 2 of the calendar, Senate Bill number 40 by Senator Kelly regarding firearms. Committee amendment pending.
Senator Kelly.
Mr. President, I move for adoption of the committee amendment.
You use previous roll?
Previous roll.
Any objection? All right, hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. The committee amendment's adopted. All right, Senator Kelly.
Mr. President, I have a floor amendment to clarify some language there that we had to replace in there for the legal reasons. So I move adoption of.
All right, hold on one second. All right, Secretary Reed, receive the amendment, please.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hold on one second.
Not yet.
Amendment,
Wait.
hold on one second.
You ain't lying. Oh. Microphone.
Mr. President, I need to withdraw the floor amendment, please, sir.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. All right, the amendment's withdrawn.
Okay. Mr. President, I move for adoption of the bill. This is a bill that is called the Hunter Houston Bill. It's named after two of our veterans, Houston Tumlin and Hunter Whitley, two young men that took their own lives. And this bill, their mothers feel like, and they're watching on live stream, that if they had been, this bill had been in place and they could have turned in those firearms voluntarily, and that it would have likely saved their lives. And so this bill is named in honor of those two gentlemen, and appreciate that it's going to save many more lives, not just those. So I believe my colleague has some comments.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. President. I came up here really, and I know we're trying to get out here because of weather. We got some bad weather in Birmingham as well, and I need to get home. But I wanted to come up here to commend the gentleman for this piece of legislation. Again, got a chance to hear testimony when we were in committee about how these gentlemen, these veterans who served this country, and y'all know how I feel about vets, that they would still been here today had they had this opportunity to surrender these weapons. So I want to commend you for that. In addition, I'm asking my colleagues to support another piece of legislation. I've had a piece of legislation for many years now. This year it's Senate Bill 170 that is similar. My bill is not a voluntary, but it is an opportunity for us to get those firearms away from people who have deemed to be a threat to themselves or others. And we know that I looked at some numbers last night because I did an interview yesterday. 57% of firearm deaths are because of suicide. And if we can have a way to help people, maybe they will still be here. So again, on this particular bill, want to commend the gentleman. Glad that you brought this. Really wish I would have had an opportunity to co-sponsor it also at the time. Anything dealing with veterans, y'all come see me about it. Y'all know I always tell y'all I live with a real live American hero, my father. So again, thank you to the gentleman. Let's talk about Senate Bill 170 so we can save not only our veterans, but other people also who are in trouble. So thank you for the opportunity, Mr. President.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Mr. President, I move for adoption by previous roll.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Mr. Albritton. Mr. Williams.
31 ayes, 0 nays. Senate Bill 40 passes. Thanks, Senator Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right.
Mr. President.
Senator Gudger.
Thank you. Good job today. Everyone in the Alabama State Senate, I appreciate all your hard work and being able to work back and forth on this. Mr. President, at the close of the day, we'd like to make a motion to adjourn until Tuesday, February 25th at 2 p.m. and leaving the journal open for introduction of bills until 12 o'clock.
All right, you heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned.
Thank you. We will be having a chairman's meeting immediately upon adjournment right now, guys.